next speaker is Natália Urban. And those of you familiar with Natalia's work will be very familiar with the contribution that she's able to make. The notes that are being given as the moderator is remarkably brief and doesn't do justice to her, but she can maybe say something herself. I am just told that she is a freelance journalist and an anti-imperialist political analyst. So Natália, I hope you're in the chat and you're able to speak to us. Over to you.
Hi, Alan. Hi, everybody. How are you? First of all, I'm a contributor for Brazil Wire. Brazil Wire is the only media specialized in coverage of Brazilian news from a leftist perspective since the coup, basically. And we have been trying to fight the narrative that have been spreaded, especially by the Anglo media, about the PT, the imprisonment of Lula, and of course, the rise of Bolsonaro, who has been, we all know, extremely normalized by the society. I'm also a correspondent for Brazil 247. We are the biggest progressive media in Brazil. We almost have 1 million followers on YouTube, and I have the honor of being one of their contributors there. And I do a bunch of things, especially now regarding the Brazilian election, because I really think people need to be educated. To fight narratives is my thing. And what I wanted to talk about the elections of Lula is the possible election. Me as a Brazilian, I'm very, very anxious about it, because the period after the coup was very difficult from all of us, especially from us who are openly against Bolsonaro. But it's how Lula, who was called by Bannon himself a major threat and the global poster boy of the left, is actually a danger for the advances of the far right, internationally speaking, because when we are talking about the things Lula did, even though he's not himself described as a radical, he's not a revolutionary, he's just a man who is deeply passionate about the working class, being the working class himself, the first president who was a factory worker in South America. And we have to remember that the ascension of Bolsonaro was not political phenomenon, was not something that happened in Brazil. It was an international construction. Bolsonaro himself had a lot of help from several international mechanisms that are here to not just destroy the advances that the left did in the past years in Latin America, but also internationally speaking, because we have to remember that Lula was someone that always was in favor for a multipolar world, and not just this, someone that always focus his international relations in the South-South approach, let's do our thing. And we have Bolsonaro, someone that was obscure parliamentary, that all of a sudden he was the candidate of presidency through Brazil Wire. I was able with John McVoy and Dan Hunt to reveal that the British government, for example, was having meetings with Bolsonaro way before him announced his elections. That we all know the participation of the Department of Justice from the United States and Lava Jato. We all know about how the Canadian mining companies were doing lobby with people close to Bolsonaro for the legalization of mining in indigenous lands. So we have all those powerful forces from the capitalists working to not just remove Lula, but to continue to explore Brazil's wealth and to maintain our population in poverty. So Lula is someone that always, even though he's not radical, he was always very admired by people who are radical. He's someone that works really, really well with the union of South America, in Latin America, but especially South America, because he knows that this is important for our survival. He always say that if one country in South America is not doing well, the others will be suffering as well, because we are all interconnected. And he was always someone that was willing to use the powerful force of Brazil as like in economy and geopolitics to support other smaller countries in South America. And this is exactly what those mechanisms don't want. They want to make us always dependable of them. They always want to continue to explore them without a questioning. And they will always be trying to treat us as their backyard. So we have in the past years, of course, Steve Bannon working with the movement and having Bolsonaro's third son, Eduardo, who's also a congressman and is the geopolitical son of Bolsonaro, as his poster boy for the modern far right and Latin America. We have the Foro de Madrid here from Europe, that is also a far-right mechanism that is working with Iberian, Latin American countries to advance what they say it's an anti-communist agenda, even though Lula is not a communist himself, nor many of the other politicians that they continue to attack and use their influence within the European Parliament, within European countries to try to not just like undermine those governments, but also to interfere in the most imperialistic way as possible in those governments. So they have been working tirelessly to destroy all the attempts that we have been making in Brazil in terms of like building international bridges, or even building an international movement of progressive forces, saying that we are financed by narco gangs, that we are financed by criminals, that we are trying to implement some sort of like communist dictatorship. And this is really scary for the working class people in Brazil. This is very scary for the working class people in all Latin America, because we all have our own traumas regarding the periods of dictatorship, the periods that many real communists, real guerrilleros were murdered by those regimes that not just like demonized the left, but also oppressed us. So now we are seeing a shift on this. We are seeing Lula speaking what he knows best. I want to feed the people. I want to give people jobs. I want to give people homes. I want to give people hope. Brazilians are hopeless now. Bolsonaro removed or worldly famous joy of live, because there is literally no way someone that is living in a situation of impoverishment, that is living in a situation of extremely difficulties because they don't have a proper house, or they are homeless because they don't have any professional perspectives in Brazil, because they are being explored by like gig economy, to see how they can like move and like have their dignity back. And this is what Lula is promising. He's not promising he's going to make everybody rich. He's not going to give everybody a pony. No, it's not anything magical. He just wants to make sure that every Brazilian has at least 3 square meals per day. And whenever people say to me, well, but he should be aiming for more, Brazil has currently over 30 million people living in food insecurity. So I would say that wanting to feed a country, the population of a country with continental dimensions like Brazil, it's really, really radical and revolutionary. So I just want to ask people here, the ones who are not Brazilian, to please be mindful about our situation. Please be prepared about like the international media saying things like Bolsonaro and Lula are the same, the two sides of the same coin, doing some sort of like comparison between them. There is no comparison. Lula is a Democrat. Lula is working for the people. Bolsonaro is killing and killed almost 800,000 Brazilians. So I want to thank everybody here for listening me, for like giving attention not just to me but to other speakers, because we are true indeed, like Steve Bannon again said, living through a historical moment in South America with the 2022 elections, and we want to make a history, but we want to make a better history for ourselves. So thank you.
I'm Michael Hudson. I'm appearing here for the International Manifesto Group. If you like this video and ones like it, please subscribe. For more information, go to the address on this screen.